Frank.
How you doing?
How you doing?
Hey.
Hey, yo, Frankie C. How you doing?
I'm all right.
Yeah,
Forget about it.
You got a topic today that I kind of like, So we're not gonna forget about it. We're gonna talk about it, okay? Is doing a for sale by owner worth it?
No.
Well, thank you for joining us, everybody. That was Frank's topic today.
I like it.
Look, for sale by owner has been around, obviously, for a while. It was really popular when anybody could sell a house because everybody was buying houses.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is selling your own house is not easy, and it's got a lot of pitfalls in it. Am I crazy or?
Absolutely. Yeah, you are crazy, but absolutely.
That's
there
true.
are a lot of pitfalls.
It's a totally different story.
And you're right. You're right. Well, liability is number one, but, back, like you said, Eric, back when it was so easy, I mean, everybody, the market is flooded with buyers and equities are going through the roofs. I mean, why not make that extra money? But over time as well, there was a lot of litigation, a lot of legal issues with the banks, with the realtors, with the whole real estate industry, and it's just not worth the risk anymore. I mean, there are some positives. You might save some commission. Let's say on average, a $300,000 home, if you were going to do a 6% commission, which is split between buyer's agent and the listing agent, you might think of yourself as saving $9,000, or actually, most people would think of that full 6% that they're going to save that money, but they're not. Actually.
No, they're only going to save half.
They're going to save half of it because
you got to pay the other.
You do have to pay a listing agent, a buyer's agent who more than likely is going to bring that buyer to the table to represent that buyer.
Right.
Because most buyers are not going to try to buy a house on their own from someone who's trying to sell their house on their own. That's a real scary, chaotic situation.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, but I mean, it all comes down to a few points, though. Here. When you're selling something on your own, of course, you're not maximizing your marketing. You can go ahead and put your property on Craigslist and a lot of these these public MLS systems. But most of the heavy duty driven buyer group is generated from buyers who do have agents that are professional licensed California realtors that are using the MLS that they are licensed to use.
So are you telling me that a for sale by owner is not allowed to put their home on the multiple listing service?
They're not a licensed California agent and are not part of a membership or board.
Agents pay for that service.
Yeah, and there's services like for $99 they'll put it on the MLS, but
there are for sellbyowner.com and
you might have these services, but you don't have someone who is utilizing in full the full capabilities of the MLS, whether it's searching for homes or whether it's listing homes and keeping things updated and adjusting things.
And that really is the engine to all of this. That
it is
MLS.
the engine.
That's where everything starts.
It is the engine.
That is the primary marketing channel.
Exactly, because
that's where the Redfins and Zillows get all their information
it funnels from that to the rest of those 200 places.
And we've talked about this before, where a lot of people just believe that open houses sell homes and methods like that. Actually, statistically over the years, the same number has come up again and again that really only 3% of homes are sold to a buyer that attended an open house.
Wow,
whereas every other buyer, 3% actually. I mean, think about it. In the mind state of someone who's going to list a home on their own, I think they got they believe there's a 50-50 shot there. It's much less than that because 90+% of the buyers, more than likely, that are candidates for your home are going to be driven by a professional, an agent, a buyer with an agent. So why not be that listing person with a professional listing agent?
What else is a pitfall?
You're really not going to get a true evaluation of your price. People a regular traditional seller tends to sell price with a sentimental value, and in a market like today, even marking a house, $4,000 or $5,000 above where it should be can be the difference between you getting offers within 2 weeks or sitting on the market for 2 months. And then trying to play catch up with the REOs down the street that are making business decisions because they have professionals evaluating and calculating and watching the market and the trends.
I think that's something I've noticed with today's market is because it's so heavy with bank-owned properties and banks are so analytical and mathematical that we're seeing homes priced really, really well. In other words, this is really what this home is worth. It's what it's going to sell for. There's not a lot of craziness and emotion that used to go on, where
it's strict business decisions, and you have to move quick. And sometimes, as a traditional seller, especially if you don't have someone to guide you or even push you to give that price reduction, you're likely not going to, and you're going to keep at the back of the line.
What else?
Something that people don't think about also here as a for sale by owner is you don't have a professional to entertain the offers.
You're talking about a realtor or someone that stands on the corner?
Your listing agent.
Oh, okay.
You need that buffer between the seller and the buyer. You want that separation between the homeowner and the buyer's agent, of course, to prevent the pressure and the disagreement during the negotiations.
What do you think would happen if an actual buyer and seller got together in a room?
Chaos. You're going to have you could
like the UFC.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could have a sentimental buyer with no representation, sentimental seller with no representation. I mean, I really don't see how it all works out. Besides all the other things that have to be taken care of, like Scott said, all the liability, all the disclosure items. I mean, how do you really know that you've really A through Z covered all your bases as a buyer or as a seller and had every document signed, initialed, and processed? I think
that's the number one for me is the liability issue.
Yeah, and by having a listing agent that has a brokerage, they have the knowledge, the experience, the liability. They pick up the liability. They have E&O insurance and all these things that are tremendous values that, as a traditional seller, you're not going to have to support you and to protect you. It all comes down to convenience of showing also. The lock boxes that we use, the super lock boxes, so we can track who's coming and going. And you don't always want to have to be the person there to show a property if you don't have that kind of mechanism to keep a track on who's coming in and who's coming and going. You don't just want to put a coded lock box there as a traditional seller and then go ahead and put that code out for everyone to see. You need to know that people have that deterrent because they know they're being tracked when they're coming and going, or you want that agent to give you the convenience of scheduling the appointment and being there in person themselves to show the buyer with their agent. All these factors are things to think about. It's just way too risky, especially in this environment right now that we're in, where everybody's looking for any kind of angle and any kind of method they can to honestly to get the best deal. To save a buck on the other side also, So
sometimes my mom used to say you can step over $1 to pick up a dime, and
that's exactly what that is. That's exactly what that is. These kids, they go into it thinking they're saving money, but in the end,
no.
In the end,
you see that a lot with people who are shopping rate, the people who shop, all sorts. They're shopping.
At a certain point, you're just crazy. You're just crazy. Frank, break it down. Sorry.
I've broken down as I just don't think it's worth the liability risk, of course, the safety risk of you having people coming and going to this house
the Craigslist
monitoring. Yeah, there you go. It's just all the way around. I think worth, if you had to put it that extra 3%, to have a professional to take the worry out of your mind and have them deal with the ins, the outs, the goods and the bads of the whole transaction.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen.